Jason, we're looking at the early indications, but how do we judge this IPO and its pricing? If it opens at $38, which it's indicated to do so, was it priced exactly right? But does that risk customer loyalty from users that got an allocation and were counting on a pop, especially given what we've seen from other big IPOs over the last year or so?
Well, thanks for having me, and congratulations to the Robinhood team. In terms of the pop, actually, nothing would be better than for it to be priced perfectly and stay the same price for a couple of months. I think any retail investors who are new to the game, it would be a great lesson for them to buy and hold things for a long time. That is really where the great wins come from. I've been lucky enough to be an investor in two of these companies that have gone public in the cycle, Uber and now Airbnb, Robinhood, and I missed Airbnb. But if you look at those three companies, boy, they've changed the world. And if you were lucky enough to get into them, I think holding them for a decade is the right move. We've seen that with Amazon, Netflix, Google, Facebook. A lot of times the gains don't just happen in the private markets. They happen in the public markets over decades. And so I'm still long the company. Obviously, with 22 million customers, Robinhood is doing phenomenal. And I'm really interested to see what they do next.
Jason, we've talked in the past about the regulatory risks, the business model, payment for order flow. The bull case for this company, though, which I know you've talked a lot about, is its young, huge customer base. But how does Vlad Tenev make sure that Robinhood doesn't become a feeder for other financial firms, not traditional banks, but the more established fintechs like PayPal and Square that have built up customer loyalty over many more years?
We have a very vibrant, competitive marketplace here in America, where these companies have to keep performing. So you're exactly right. If they don't keep delighting their customers, there are plenty of people who will delight those customers. One of the great things is the amount of trust Robinhood has built, despite some of the, GameStop things that have happened and the issues around payment for order flow, which seem to be an issue for some group of people, but not for the actual customers of Robinhood. I think if you look at what they could add to the product, bank accounts, mortgages, 401ks, Roths, retirement, 529s for people's kids. We've got a generation of people who now have learned finance at a very young age by doing it. And that's something here on CNBC you've been talking about, having more market participants. And when I invested in the company, the idea that 20 million more retail investors would join the party and start investing in stocks and take control of their financial destiny, which is really what this is about. I mean, that is the goal of the companies, for people to take control of their financial destiny and have agency in financial markets that are competitive and complex.
It's a great point, Jason, and we would everyone would love to see stock participation in aggregate go up and help people take advantage of the markets. I do want to ask you about the competition, and when Tenev was asked about it this morning, what the moat was, he said it was the brand, to your point. But it's not like other companies don't have carefully tailored brands that they've been refining over decades and decades of work. I mean, is that like trying to sell an Oldsmobile to a young guy right now?
I do think you make a good point there at the end, which is sometimes these paradigm shift and brands just have a hard time, appealing to the next generation, whether it was Yahoo or, AOL. They just didn't cross the chasm and make it to that next group of customers. So I think this group of customers in their 20s and 30s, they're just starting, and they're probably getting started 10 years before all of us did, who are watching on the show, or maybe 20 or 30 years before some of us did. And so that really is the upside. This is a company that has always operated with a sense of urgency, and by building absolutely stunning, gorgeous experiences for users, which reminds me of Airbnb, which reminds me of Google and Facebook, and Uber. Just the quality of the product is paramount in this industry because it's so competitive, and you have to constantly be offering new things. And he sort of talked a little bit about this week of, hey, maybe there's more products to come. And when he pitched it to me in the early days before the product was even launched, he did have a very, very big vision for the company.